Megan, do you have sound? Doing a quick sound check, making sure audio's good. Okay, great.
Kelly, what happened to your old phone?
It was just too old and it just like boots out on me. Nothing in particular. We still have the same number. It's just the phone. I had a 11. And we're on
Okay, that makes sense. Yes.
and we're on 17 now. So that's what happened. I'm
Are
an
you
old
on
lady.
17 now?
Yes, I am actually.
There you go.
Somebody the other day thought I was 10 years younger than I am. I was like, yes,
Did you call yourself that?
I am. I'm in my mid-30s. Somebody thought I was in my mid-20s.
See? I don't think that. You're gonna pass for like a 22-year-old for the next 15 years.
Oh, I'm hyper aware. When I drop off my kid at school, all his classmates look at me like I'm their teacher or like friend. They're like, hi,
You really
hi.
do have like preschool, like elementary school vibes.
I do. They all start talking to me, and da 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 da. Yeah. It's okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
As a woman in her mid-30s. She wants to be mature.
Guess who gets carded when they go places? I
Oh,
went the other
absolutely.
day and bought a bottle of champagne from the liquor store by my apartment. And the guy was like, I need to see your ID. And I handed it to him. And then he apologized. He goes, I'm so sorry. You just look really young. I said, it's okay. It happens all the time. It's your business, so. Did you go to Selma Sunday?
Oh no, I definitely did. You were not there?
No.
Who was there for?
Burn.
That's it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have some thoughts.
It was a slim team, but she did a good job. Why were you definitely wrong? It's a definite impact.
I work in government.
So do half of the people that were there.
Yeah. I think there's like a real distinction between government and politics. I don't have to do the sticky part.
I got both in politics.
Hello. How are you today?
Well, good to see you.
Good to see you too. All right. Julia, we good? Good to go? Great. Okay. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good to see you too.
Great to see you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Last week, voters across our city, state, and nation made their voices heard at the ballot box. I want to congratulate Mayor-elect Mamdani on his historic victory. I wish him and his incoming administration the best in delivering a more affordable and livable city for New Yorkers across all 5 boroughs. Hi, Kelly. I also want to take a moment to address Mayor Adams' ballot proposals 2, 3, and 4 that passed on Tuesday. These will permanently change the city's constitution, lasting beyond the next mayor, and weaken democracy in the city's land use process. There will now be less checks and balances to protect New Yorkers and to ensure that development prioritizes their needs for affordability and strong communities, and not only developers' profits. New Yorkers desperately need more housing that is affordable to them, but the solution isn't to take away communities' power to secure more affordability and essential essential public goods from development. With the passage of the ballot proposals, the negotiating power that once belonged to the people has now been surrendered to a powerful few. This weakens our democracy. Given the intentionally misleading and deceptive language used to describe the proposals on the ballot, last week's results are not entirely surprising. Yet, these loopholes remain a serious threat to democracy in our city and state. Going forward, there must be greater accountability and scrutiny of charter revisions to rein in the abuses of the power that Mayor Adams repeatedly exploited. Up in Albany, both houses of the state legislature passed bills that would prevent mayors from misusing their charter revision power to block ballot access and weaken democracy like Eric Adams did. It's now on Governor Hochul to sign the legislation into law so that our democracy and the power that belongs to the people are protected. Now let's move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following land use items. The One LIC neighborhood plan in Councilmember Julie One's district is the 5th neighborhood rezoning to be approved by the council over the last 2 years and the largest in over 2 decades. It will rezone approximately 54 blocks in Long Island City, Queens, to facilitate the creation of nearly 15,000 new homes, including 4,350 affordable homes through the mapping of MIH and the development of publicly owned sites. The plan will also deliver 3.8 million square feet of commercial, community, facility, and light industrial space. Through the council's direct negotiating role in the land use process, the One LIC neighborhood plan will be accompanied by historic community investments for Long Island City, including major funding to create new public schools, support local public housing developments, open space and waterfront esplanade access, transportation improvements, and new and renovated parks. I want to thank Councilmember Wan for her leadership, members of the public who participated in the many months of planning workshops and meetings to make their voices heard, our planning and land use team, and the Department of City Planning for their collective work on this historic plan. 7801 Queens Boulevard rezoning will facilitate the development of a new 13-story mixed-use development with approximately 314 homes, 79 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH Option 1 and ground floor commercial and community facility space in Councilmember Shaker Krishnan's district. The council will be modifying this application to remove neighboring active industrial businesses from the rezoning area. AAMUP follow-up, a text amendment to the Atlantic Avenue mixed-use plan passed by the council this past May to modify the non-residential zoning incentive to limit a portion of the incentive area to light industrial, arts, and selected community facility uses for 7 blocks within the AAMUP rezoning in Councilmember Crystal Hudson's district. Lastly, 2 applications in Councilmember Justin Brannon's district, 58 Nixon Court rezoning, will facilitate the development of a new 8-story mixed-use building with 19 homes, between 4 and 6 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH and ground floor retail space. 464 Ovington Court rezoning will facilitate the development of a new 8-story residential building with 40 homes, 10 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH Option 1. We'll also vote on the following finance items. Introduction 740A, sponsored by Councilmember David Carr, would establish a real property tax exemption for Cold War veterans who were honorably discharged or released. 15% of the assessed value of the residential property would be exempt, up to $48,000. Cold War veterans who were disabled due to their service would be eligible for an additional tax exemption up to $160,000. Introduction 1410, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannon, would authorize an increase in annual expenditures for 7 business improvement districts. Introduction 1427, sponsored by Councilmember Brannon, would establish the Coney Island Business Improvement District. Introduction 1428, sponsored by Councilmember Brannon, would authorize additional services for the Lincoln Square bid and authorize a change in the method of assessment upon which the district charge is based. Preconsidered resolution, sponsored by Councilmember Brannon, would establish a new partial 40-year Article 11 tax exemption for a 20-story building in Councilmember Keith Powers' district. And a preconsidered resolution sponsored by Councilmember Brannon would establish a new partial 40-year Article 11 tax exemption for 2 buildings consisting of 83 units in Councilmember Rafael Salamanca's district. Today we'll also vote on the following resolutions. pre-considered resolution sponsored by myself and Majority Leader Farias declaring January 15th as Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Day in the city of New York in recognition of our sorority's enduring commitment to service and scholarship and its positive impact on families and communities across the world. Preconsidered resolution, also sponsored by myself, declaring the first Monday of November as Black Solidarity Day in the city of New York. Dr. Carlos Russell, a leading activist, created the first Black Solidarity Day on November 3rd, 1969, in support of Black businesses. Next, we'll vote on the following legislation. Introduction 1250A, sponsored by Councilmember David Carr, would require every community board, borough board, or advisory body to publish its bylaws on its own or on other city-owned websites. They would also be required to update published bylaws no later than 2 weeks after making changes to them. I invite Councilmember Carr to the podium to discuss his legislation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. This is a great day to be passing two critical pieces of legislation into law with the support of my colleagues here in the Council. And I'll start with Intro 1250A that was prime co-sponsored along with our Chair of the Governmental Operations Committee, Councilmember Ressler. I thank Chair Ressler for his support and commitment to transparency and reforming government, and I'm so glad to be able to do this in partnership with him, making sure that the public and new members of our community boards, borough boards, and advisory boards know the rules that govern those institutions is incredibly important. We've had people who have served on our community boards literally for decades. They know these rules by rote, but not everybody comes with the same level of knowledge. And it's important that when it comes to knowing how to, operate within these institutions, that everyone be on an even playing field, knowing the rules. And so that's what we're requiring. We're going to be making sure that these organizations post their bylaws if they haven't already, and post them whenever they are changed or altered. And I think that's just sort of a basic level of commitment that we can give to the public and to new members, particularly as I noted earlier in committee, 2027 and 2028 are the first time community board members will be term limited off, and we're going to lose a significant amount of institutional knowledge. Really important that everybody be starting from the same place. Very proud of this piece of legislation where we're going to pass today. And then with respect to Intro 748, this has been a passion project for many people. My colleague, former colleague Joe Borelli, introduced this in 2018. I inherited this piece of legislation from him, and it's going to close an important loophole in the property tax exemption benefits that we offer to our veterans. Our World War II veterans have the eligible funds exemption. Those who have served in combat and subsequent periods of our history have the alternative veterans exemption. But our Cold War veterans, many of whom were conscripted, were not able to access a real property tax exemption. We're the only locality in the state that has not availed itself of this program, and that changes today. So this is a wonderful opportunity to give our veterans a great thank you on the day after Veterans Day, and let them know that we want them to remain in the city. We want their homes to remain affordable for them. They've been an intricate part of the tapestry that is New York. They've enriched our lives, and this is a nice way we can say thank you to them for our service to their service to our nation. And I just want to thank the Speaker so much for her commitment to this. We included it in the preliminary, the Council's response to the preliminary budget earlier this year, and we made it a priority since then. And I thank all of my colleagues, particularly Chairs Brannan and Holden and the Common Sense Caucus, for being champions of this cause, and so thrilled to be able to deliver this thank you to veterans. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Councilmember Carr, I just want to say both pieces of legislation are long overdue, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Introduction 1308, sponsored by Councilmember Julie Menin, would reform many of the city's business licensing laws, merging the electronics store and electronics or home appliance service dealers' licenses. It would also remove licensing requirements for individual locksmiths and manufacturers of locks. Councilmember Menin could not join us today, but we do thank her for her work on this legislation. Introduction 1193A, sponsored by Councilmember Yusuf Salam, would require home improvement contractors to disclose to owners which, if any, permits are required to perform their work. It would also require the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection and the Department of Buildings to conduct outreach and education campaigns to raise awareness of these new requirements and a list of contractors who have performed work without the required permits. I invite Councilmember Salam to the podium to discuss his legislation today.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you to my colleagues for standing together on this important day. Today's announcement isn't just about legislation, it's about restoring trust. Too many New Yorkers, especially working class homeowners, have spent their life savings on home repairs or renovations, only to find out that the work was done without proper permits. What should have been a moment of pride often turns into a financial and an emotional nightmare. Intro 1193A changes that. It brings sunlight to a system that for too long has operated in the shadows. It requires contractors to clearly disclose which permits are needed, who is responsible for obtaining them, and how residents can confirm that information through city databases. It's a simple act of honesty that can prevent years of hardship. But this bill also goes a step further. It recognizes that enforcement alone is not enough. That's why it directs our agencies to conduct proactive public education, offering multilingual materials and online tools that empower residents before they sign a single contract. This is about fairness, it's about safety, and this is about transparency. This legislation is also about durability, sustainability, and long-term affordability. When work is done by licensed professionals and inspected properly, it lasts longer. It meets environmental standards and lowers maintenance costs in the long run. Safer, sustainable homes mean stronger neighborhoods. And that's what this bill delivers. Ultimately, it's about giving families confidence that when they invest in their homes, the city of New York stands behind them. I want to thank our speaker for her leadership and her partnership, and to all the co-sponsors who signed on overwhelmingly to attain a supermajority support for this bill. I want to thank my Chief of Staff, Wilma Brown, my Senior Director of Operations, Lamont Mays, and my Director of Budget and Legislation, he wears two hats, Mufaza Hussein, for their tireless work in brainstorming and advancing this legislation. I would also like to thank all the committee staff who helped to bring this moment forward. Together, we are showing that government can be guardians for its people, not just a regulator. Thank you.
Thank you. Introduction 1123B, sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, would establish rules for a containerization program authorizing the Department of Sanitation to impose an annual fee for costs related to the installation and maintenance of on-street containers for trash, recycling, and organic waste. The fee would be capped at $55 per unit and only be imposed on buildings with 10 or more units that have received an on-street container from DSNY. The fee would be waived for Mitchell-Lama buildings, buildings owned by Housing Development Fund corporations, 100% affordable buildings, and buildings where at least half the units are rent regulated. I invite Councilmember Hudson to the podium to discuss her legislation.
I'll grab it, don't worry, don't worry. I should have like a jack-o'-lantern kind of box. Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like a brief moment to just speak on Intro 1123, the RAT Act. For far too long, New Yorkers have had to see and smell mountains of trash bags that fill our streets and sidewalks on trash days and put up with the rats that come with them. Intro 1123, also known as the Removing Animals from the Trash, or RAT Act, takes a critical step in modernizing our city's outdated waste management system, which will result in cleaner streets throughout the city. This bill allows the Department of Sanitation to place stationary on-street containers for residential waste across the 5 boroughs. It expands on the successful pilots in Manhattan Community District 9 and Brooklyn Community District 2 and brings the program citywide with an option for medium-sized buildings to use on-street containers or wheelie bins at a requirement for large buildings to containerize their waste using on-street bins. I'm especially proud that through negotiations on this bill, and as we've just heard from the speaker, we secured carve-outs for low and middle income homeowners and strong worker protections, including training for building superintendents and porters. Containerization is a proven strategy to reduce rodent populations and improve public health. By keeping trash in sealed bins and out of reach, we're cutting off a primary food source for rats. Combining this sort of containerization with the city's composting program, we're also creating cleaner neighborhoods that are far less hospitable to rats. Together, we're saying goodbye to the era of sidewalk trash piles and hello to the cleaner, more modern city that New Yorkers deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Was that applause, council member? Was that, okay. Okay. They are, aren't they? You don't get the booster. No. Introduction 1408A, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala, would require the Commissioner of the Department of Social Services, in collaboration with the Commissioner of the Department of Parks and Recreation and any other relevant city agency, to conduct a study to analyze Hart Island's capacity for future public burials. The agencies would be required to develop recommendations, share them with the mayor and the council, post them online, and implement any changes to procedures. Deputy Speaker Ayala could not join us today, but we certainly thank her for her work on this legislation. Finally, Introduction 79A, sponsored by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, would require the Department of Transportation to install pedestrian lighting fixtures on at least 300 commercial corridors per year. I invite Councilmember Ressler to the podium to discuss this great legislation.
Thank you so much, Speaker Adams. You know, whether you're a big, strong, tough guy like Yusef or David or me or anybody else, walking down a dark sidewalk is scary. And the Department of Transportation puts a phenomenal amount of effort and time, energy, regulation, data, analysis into lighting up our roadways. But most New Yorkers don't drive, we walk. And it's critically important that we have bright, lit up streets when we walk down the block. You know, we often talk about NYCHA developments and how scary it is that we have scaffolding that's up at a NYCHA development for years on end, and it's dark and it's hard to see around, you know, the scaffolding. But we don't put that same effort and energy into lighting up our mixed-use corridors. And that's what this legislation will accomplish. This bill, finally, requires the Department of Transportation to light up 300 mixed-use corridors each and every year. We are going to make the streets of New York City safer with one very simple intervention: more light. It's relatively cost-effective, and it is a smart and evidence-based approach. The University of Chicago has done extensive research into how brightening up neighborhoods, developments, improve safety in those very places, and we can do it across the streets of New York City by passing Intro 79 today. I'm really grateful to the Speaker for her support and leadership on this bill and on everything. Really, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And to my colleagues, you know, this bill is going to make a major difference in making every single one of our neighborhoods safer places to live, and I'm really grateful that we're moving it forward today. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Thank you. That concludes our stated agenda. With that, we will take on topic questions first on the bills being voted on today.
For Long Island City residents, delivering new affordable housing and bringing $1 billion of new investments to the community. I wonder what you make of his support and that it came so late.
Well, I can't speak for the timeliness, you know, of the mayor-elect. I'm very happy that we do have his support. I think it is an extremely critical move for Long Island City, one that is long overdue. Councilmember Wong, would you like to come up and speak of that?
What's important to note is that the mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is also the state assembly member that represents the area where the study and the neighborhood plan the rezoning is taking place. He has been present for all the meetings, especially as you saw in the mayoral debate, where he was asked about support for 1LIC by Errol Lewis at the latest debate. He said that what he cares the most about is affordable housing, as well as connecting the waterfront from Queensbridge Park to Gantry Park, because we have physical separation, segregating poverty from one part of my neighborhood to another where the wealth is. And he has been with me at Con Ed in person over a year ago, requesting that Con Ed give us waterfront access. And he has been following up. As you saw, even 2 weeks ago, we were in the news protesting Con Ed because Con Ed was refusing to participate in connecting the waterfront, which is vital because they own 70% of the land, which is currently parking lot use for Con Ed along the waterfront. And he has been a supporter in that way. He, as an assembly member, has been part of all the land use projects for a state elected. He has been present for all my briefings. His team has been very hands-on, and he has been a great partner in understanding how negotiations work. He has always held back until I was ready to say I fully support this project to also support. So this is not out of the ordinary from the ways that we have worked in partnership with each other the last 4 years since I've been elected, especially in other land use projects like Innovation Queens, where he stood side by side with me in protests and rallies demanding more for the community. And now we have been able to get an extreme amount of community benefits. It was about 7 years ago tomorrow when Amazon HQ2 failed. So now on its 7th year anniversary, it is the 5th rezoning that we're trying to pass. And instead of a $3 billion handout to a corporation like Amazon HQ2, we are now receiving $2 billion in investment for schools, green spaces, sewage and plumbing, waterfront resiliency, a connected waterfront infrastructure, and $200 million for Queensbridge houses for NYCHA. So I am extremely excited to have his support, and I look forward to implementing this with the mayor-elect as he takes office.
Any other on-topic questions? We'll do off-topic. Caroline?
Hi.
I'm wondering if you've gotten a chance to speak with Mr. Madami about his universal childcare plan and if you would like him to continue the current pilot program that's in place.
I would like for him to extend the pilot program, and no, I have not spoken with him yet on it. We've got a lot in common when it comes to universal child care and our hopes for the future for New York.
Hi, I
Hi.
have a couple of questions. Sorry about my voice. My first question is, the city council is expected to override the vetoes that the mayor just made. And he did that on Friday last week. I wonder your thoughts on him vetoing your legislation. One of those bills is the one that you actually sponsored. And then I also wanted to ask you about the speaker's race. Is there a particular candidate you're leaning towards, and what would you want the future speaker? What are your thoughts on where this council could go in the future with the mayor-elect?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kelly, for the questions. As far as the speaker race is concerned, I'm watching just like all of you are watching. It is a decision for the members, and as one who ran 4 years ago, I credit all of the members for the decision that they will make over the upcoming week. So I'm watching just like you are. We'll see what happens, but I'm always available to talk to anyone that is running for speaker to tell them about my great experience in the role. As far as the mayor's veto, and really, it's not just pulling out my legislation, as one of the bills that he has vetoed. It is once again being perplexed over this mayor and his choice of vetoing legislation that his administration walks into and works hand in hand with this council to make sure that we get to the places that we are on stated days and days before stated days so that we are able to pass comprehensive legislation. We do it with the mayoral administration. So, seeing one veto is one thing, but seeing, multiple vetoes coming through when the administration works with this council to make sure that legislation is being passed, once again, is perplexing and it is harmful for New Yorkers. We look forward to, once again, overriding those vetoes, which came through with veto-proof majorities.
I just had one follow-up. Your relationship with Mayor Adams has been one of contention.
Has it really?
Sometimes, yeah. Do you think that a speaker should be a check on the mayor or should be somebody that supports many of their priorities?
There has to be a balance, Kelly, and again, that's a great question. My hope when coming into the role as speaker was to, and I mentioned this a while back with Cheryl Wills, that my hope was that we were to be a lot more collaborative and working more jointly together, and unfortunately that fell apart within the relationship. The responsibility of the City Council is to be that co-equal branch of legislation with the executive branch and to work well for the benefit of over 8 million New Yorkers. I believe that this council has done a stellar job in these 4 years in this session, stellar job. What my hope would have been is that we would have been able to do that more collaboratively with the administration. There are some really great people in the administration. Unfortunately, the relationship between One Adams and myself was not as collaborative as I would have wanted for it to be. But that said, I do believe that the work has been done in this council for the people of the city of New York very, very well.
Yeah, following up on Kelly's questions, I wonder, have you talked to Mayor-elect Mamdani about the speaker's race, and have you, given what you learned from 4 years ago, I know you just kind of nodded to outside influences and kind of it being a decision that council members should make, have you warned him to not wade into this?
No, I don't think it's my place to advise the mayor-elect on his feelings about the speaker race and how he chooses to conduct himself as far as involvement or non-involvement. So no, I have not, put my fingers on the scale as far as his decision or his choices or who to speak to or who not to speak to. So the answer is no.
Have you talked to him about the speaker's race?
I have not. I've talked to him about some things, but the speaker's races, no, we have not had a conversation about that. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.